Hey everyone, how you doing? Stan Pearson II, speaker, author, motivational comedian, and host, and actor, and business strategist, coach, confidence coach, whatever. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. This is going to be an incredible interview with Sean Wyman. All right, so get ready for an incredible time, okay? Host, and actor, and business strategist, coach, confidence coach, whatever. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. This is going to be cool. All right, great. Sorry. I had to make sure I had to test out my thing so there were no technical difficulties, but now we're here. Now we're here. Super excited. 2 minutes ago. Enjoyed the show. If you have any questions, let me know.
All right, awesome, guys. Have a great show.
Thank you very much.
One. Love Talk Radio.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
Coach on Fire Radio.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Success Movement Radio. I am your host, Sean Wyman, and I am honored to have the opportunity to be with you on this beautiful October 19th, Wednesday, 2016. And tonight we have an absolutely amazing show. So first, I want to thank you for joining me live. It's so awesome to have you on the show. And I also want to thank everyone that has been catching the replays. I've been getting a lot of people reaching out on Twitter and Instagram. It's been unbelievable, the people that are extending and letting me know that they're really having a great time. They're getting great value from the guests that are coming on. And I really appreciate that. So if you would keep doing that and letting me know, providing feedback, if there's something you want to see in the future or anything like that, don't hesitate. And remember, during the show, you can call in. The telephone number is 646-716-7979. That's 646-716-7979. And you can talk to our guest tonight. Now, I am so excited to introduce this guy. He has been just an amazing human being, man. Awesome speaker, over 10 years of speaking experience. And this is one of the people that I was first introduced to when I got started in the speaking industry 2 years ago. And I'm honored to say that this guy was willing to give me the time of day, and he spent over almost an hour and a half on the phone with me, talking with me and sharing, speaking strategy and things that I can do right now to move forward. And I'm proud to say that a lot of what I've accomplished is thanks to the person that I'm getting ready to introduce you guys
Oh,
So
wow. Thank you.
I'm so excited to introduce you to a speaker, a motivational comedian, an author, and even a professional actor. He has spoken in over 45 states in addition to Mexico, Spain, Canada, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the British Virgin Islands. His passion or his gift is showing people how they can create a better version of themselves and their business without sacrificing who they are at their core. And he's constantly working on ways to improve his own mind, body, and spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to introduce my good friend, Stan Pearson. Welcome to the movement, Stan. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of the movement. Thank you for that incredible intro, man. I'm equally as honored to be on this interview with you on in a part of the movement. So thank you for having me.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So I'm really excited. So I want to get into this. I know that there are a lot of people out there that are going to listen to this show, both live and on the replay. They're going to want to know about the speaking industry and how it works and what's going on. But before we get into that, I think it's really important to share a little bit about you, your background, what you're doing, maybe a few things that you're working on right now, and just give everybody a little introduction to you and what you're about.
Thank you. Okay, so my life takes me back to right outside of Chicago, Illinois, where I grew up, and so I went from there to undergraduate school at Missouri Western State University, my beloved alma mater for my undergraduate degree, in which I studied Spanish. So my undergraduate degree is in Spanish. Entonces yo hablo español. No hablo perfecto, pero bastante bien. I don't speak perfect Spanish, but I speak well enough, and I'm always working on it. And then from there, I had a brief job somewhere, and then I went to graduate school at Texas A&M International University, where I studied business administration. So I got my master's in business administration, and in between that time is when I really started to actively pursue my speaking career. And aside from that, something that most folks don't know about me just by looking at me and knowing what my interests are, I'm an avid salsa dancer. I love salsa dancing. I was a semi-pro at one point, so a major shout out to Proyecto Barrio that is out of Atlanta, Georgia. Alan, Nia, you all are incredible, and they are two of the best in the country, and they're starting to make the world pay attention. So I was a semi-pro with them, on my own Latin dance studio called Rhythm Dance Studio for a few years. The youngest of three, two older sisters. Mom and dad have been married for roughly 46 years. And that's me in a nutshell. I absolutely love what I do. I love meeting folks like yourself. And that's where I am right now. I just have my life is just, I'm fortunate, blessed, and I have the right people in my life right now. So so that's me in a quick nutshell. I know we'll get into some more things right now, but yeah, there was a whole lot that happened between then and this moment, but I'm glad to be here.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm honored to have you here, my friend. So, Stan, how did you get started? Did you start in the speaking industry, or did you start out as a comedian? I mean, how did that kind of start out for you?
Yo, great question. So when I started working at Texas A&M International University, while I was in undergrad, I was a couple of things. I interned for a governor. I interned for a U.S. senator on Capitol Hill. And as a part of that, me and a group of students, we actually created an organization called SLUR. It stood for Students Learning Unity and Responsibility. And that is when I officially, in an official capacity, was getting in front of people, speaking about important issues, right? And so when I finally, years later, when I got my job at TAMU, Texas A&M International University, when I got my job there, part of my duties as assigned were to help create an orientation program to take students to leadership events and diversity events. That is when, and then speaking on behalf of the university, and that's when I started to speak more and have to do educational sessions, I like to call them now, empowerment sessions at different institutions. That's when it was all kind of officially born for me. I was leaving a room one day, someone stopped me and they asked me what I wanted to do. And I said, I'd like to be a professional speaker. Literally, like a month later, someone who knew them called me and said, "Hey, we heard you were good. Do you want to come out and do this speaking event for us?" But the person who even told them had never even heard me speak before. That led to my first ever paid gig, and that was the beginning. I was hooked. After when I left the room, I was like, I have to find a way to do this forever. That was my thought. That was my thought. But that's what started it.
Wow, man, that is awesome. So, were you just always a really good speaker? Was that something that came natural to you?
Sean, that's a great question because I feel like there's a caveat to that as a professional speaker. So I feel like I've always been fairly outgoing and comfortable in front of groups. I danced for the Milwaukee Bucks NBA team when I was a kid. I never had a problem being in front of people. But as a speaker, wanting to be the kind of speaker that I want to be, and to be the kind of speaker that I want to help other folks be, it had to be more than just I'm comfortable talking in front of people. I felt like if people were going to commit their time to me, then I needed to commit myself to them. So let's say the actual physical act of speaking was never really difficult for me. But when I decided to put my heart and my mind into it, that is when it became real. And that is also when my career took off.
Wow, man, that is powerful, man. That is powerful. So always you were comfortable in front of people, but
for sure,
it was when you actually really invested in yourself that you became the best you could be.
You're absolutely right. You know what? Because honestly, Sean, I thought that I didn't need help. You know what I'm saying? And this is going to sound fairly cliche, but I was like, listen, I'm good at this. I don't need help. I got this. People like me when they smile and they're with me. But that didn't mean I was conveying a message. And then, people say people like Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Messier, those folks are Roland. Oh, those folks have coaches. I'm like, oh, okay, that's for athletes. But I quickly realized that it wasn't just for athletes. It's for anyone that wants to get better at what they do. They have to seek out things that are greater than themselves to become exactly that.
That's powerful, man. I love that, man. I love that. So let's take a breath for a second. Let me share the phone number again in case some people are coming on. The number to call in and talk to Stan Pearson, just amazing human being, awesome speaker for over 10 years of experience. 646-716-7979. That's 646-716-7979. All right, man. So we're going to get into something. We're going to get into some depth now, man. I think the audience knows a little bit about you, but let's get into some depth because I know that they're dying to get a better understanding of what it really takes, right? What it really takes to the truth behind the speaking industry. Because you and I both know, man, there are great things about the industry, and there are some really ugly things about the industry.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So in terms of, you want to say hopping in, getting a part, listen, this is the deal, people. Honestly, number one, and this is going to be more frustrating because it's one of those things where, you never profit in the town, you never profit in your own town or in your own state. But something that's going to be extremely beneficial for you is if you leverage your present employment relationships. All right. I think it's really important to do that. For me, I worked at Texas A&M International University, and as a part of them, not only, was I tasked with taking students to leadership conferences, but guess what? Anytime there was any type of event that needed to, any type of presentation that needed to happen on campus, guess who was there? It was me. Anytime the university needed someone to speak on their behalf, guess who was volunteering for it? It was me. I wanted to get as much face time as possible so people knew that I was for real about my craft. Not just that, when I was able to leverage, let's say, my employment, that's when I was able to get my first professional pictures taken, my website, although it was slim. It wasn't booming, but it was mine. I had those things. So my first piece of advice to everyone is if you work for someone right now this is two-part. If you work for someone right now, there's definitely a deficiency in some part of the operation because no business is perfect. Recognize that deficiency and volunteer to do a presentation on how to better it. When you find your pain, you find your profit, point blank, period. That's it. Find your pain, find your profit. But what that will do is lend you credibility. That's the beginning of that. Okay. And if right now, let's say you are a complete entrepreneur, and I know we'll jump into this more, it's likely you have some type of story. You want to find a story that's going to relate to the industry that you'd like to speak to. Now that may take some wordsmithing and to make sure that, okay, is it high school? Is it college? Is it nonprofits? Is it corporations? Is it personal coaching? What industry do you want to speak to? And then have your message connect with that particular group. And if you're like, no, I want to speak to everyone, you would be like a guy I know named Stan Pearson II. But I promise you, those things will come. That will come. At one point, I was really concerned about wanting to speak to everyone. So it's kind of like a friend of mine named Corey Cacchetti. He's a speaker. I believe he has a book called like Chasing All Rabbits or Chasing Too Many Rabbits. But essentially, if you chase every rabbit, you won't catch any. So just to focus on one piece, and then people will see your credibility in that one piece. And then they'll start asking you to speak on things that aren't even necessarily in your wheelhouse, but they'll trust you, which is what it's all about.
Wow. Hey, man, we got a phone call coming in. Do you want to take a phone call?
No, I'd love to.
All right, let's take a phone call. This is going to be area code 678. Hey, welcome to the movie. You are live with Stan Pearson and Sean Wyman. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you all?
Fantastic.
This is Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia. Where are you calling from?
Welcome.
I'm calling from Atlanta.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, but hey, you know a little bit about Atlanta, don't you, Stan?
You know what? As a matter of fact, I do, Sean. I do.
So, Cynthia, what's your question for Stan?
Well, everything sounds great, Sean. And my question for Stan was when he was speaking about looking to engage with audiences and connecting with personal stories, I wanted to know, is there any events coming up that we could potentially connect with in terms of building our own speaking business?
Wow, that's number one, great question. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for asking that question. There absolutely is. This coming Saturday, which is incredible that Sean and I are on this interview right now. Next Saturday, October 29th in Irvine, California, I'm hosting a live event called Simply Speak Live. Turn your mess into a message and your ideas into income. So on October 29th, we're going to be in Irvine, California. Myself and Sean as well. We're both going to be speaking at that live event, teaching people how to start their speaking business, how to improve their platform skills, and how to improve their confidence while communicating with others. So thank you so very much. Again, visit, for all of y'all listening right now, watch this right or write this down right now, and that's simplyspeaklive.com. Again, that's simplyspeaklive.com. You can go there and get tons of information. And at the end of this interview, you're going to receive a gift from me, which is going to make what I just gave you, that website, even more beneficial, even more fruitful. So thank you again. Thank you, Cynthia.
Awesome. Cynthia, does that answer your question?
Oh, it certainly does. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Simplyspeaklive.com.
Simplyspeaklive.com. SIMPLY speaklive.com.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Hey,
thank you so very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
All right, Stan. So now we're going to get into it because we're already starting to talk about it a little bit anyway. So something you do that's really unique is you help people to find their best inside of them, and you call it finding their sexy, right? Can you explain that a little bit?
For sure, man. So, it's funny because I feel like there are two types. Some people are like, oh my God, he said sexy. What does that mean? Listen, I feel like creativity is key, and I I teach people the importance of, being creative. So for me, to be sexy means, everything that the eye can't see, your personality, your being, the way you communicate with people. But for a long time, we all had this feeling of, for me, I'll confess, coming up from elementary school all the way to an adult, I dealt with, all right, I wasn't black enough. I wasn't cool enough. I wasn't something. There was always this something enough. And then I realized other people dealt with their enough too. Maybe it was pretty enough, skinny enough. They dealt with this enough feeling as well. And then, there's obviously I'm too sexy for, right? There's that stuff, right? But instead of, sometimes we accept all this negativity, but what if there's a fun spin on it? Like instead of, I'm not something enough, maybe I'm too much of something. Maybe am I too sexy? Is that why I have haters? Is that why, people aren't happy for me? Is that why sometimes life is difficult? Am I just too sexy? And, so I played with that. I got some shirts made initially that had "Am I Too Sexy" on them, and they resonated so well with folks you wouldn't assume they would resonate with. People really gravitated towards it, and that's when I knew there was something more to it. It was a fun way to get people to look inside of themselves without feeling judgy and have fun with getting to know themselves. So that's why I always tell folks it's important to find your sexy, and that brand, I've just married myself to it. And I feel like it's really reaping benefits. And to be honest with you, I've been coached professionally, and everyone is not, gung-ho about it. Everyone doesn't think that it's, I've had coaches tell me, I don't know if people are going to like that. But because it's in my soul, it's in my spirit, and I think the right ideas and ideals back it, I can't leave it alone. So I've committed to it. And so that's where the Am I Too Sexy is. And if you all are watching me on YouTube right now or on live stream, I have on my Am I Too Sexy shirt. I'm ABM, always be marketing.
Beautiful, man. That's beautiful. So, okay, you're talking, you help people to find their sexy. Okay, but the next part of that is connecting to the audience, right? If you actually have a way that you can connect with any audience, and I had an immediate connection to you, right? And you and I have mutual friends, and just you're just a really easy guy to
Thank
get
you.
along with. But a lot of people, when they get started in this industry, they have a challenge with that because for whatever reason, when they get on that stage, they there's this block, right? Like this mental block where they don't connect with their audience. What do you do, to help people to learn, how to really connect with their audience?
All right. So number two, getting over the nerves piece. I would connect that with, I like the holidays. I'm a Christmas guy. And so regardless of what you believe in or holidays in general, where people receive gifts, most people like receiving gifts, right? So even when let's say if we're doing an interactive program or piece and there's audience members and I call on them and they're a little bit shy, I let them know that number one, this is not to put you on the spot. This is not to embarrass you. This is for you to gift us with information. This is something for you to gift us with something we didn't know before we walked into the room. When people feel like they're giving something, they become a little bit more empowered and the nerves subside a bit. And obviously, if you're nervous, that means that you care. But I want to instill in them, number one, that my nerves, I feel like, number one, I'm impactful because I do my best in understanding that I'm going to gift people with information. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to gift them with information. And most people love receiving a gift. And so I deliver it in that way that's very easy to receive. Aside from that, I think it's really important that we become vulnerable if we are truly trying to impact lives. There's some people, and we know that, there's good and bad in every industry, right? But for me, in being an effective communicator and being, let's say this award-winning speaker, is that the moment I became more vulnerable was the greater moment that people were willing to trust me. Oh, this guy is not perfect. This guy has issues just like me, but he's found some different ways to cope with them. And as a matter of fact, I can use some of those ways to help me cope with what I'm experiencing. That, Sean, man, that's when the light on in my head went on. Like, God, this is powerful. And that's also when I stopped sharing, because some people share stories that are just funny or are just moving, but they don't serve a purpose. I cut out a lot of stories that I used to share during my talk because they didn't serve a purpose. They were just serving me. And if it didn't serve my audience, I had to get it out of there, because the more I could connect with my audience and be vulnerable and let them know that I too was human, I'm just finding some really cool ways to cope and be a better version of myself. The more they're willing to be like, yo, dude, I rock with you. Yes, I hear you. I understand you.
Yeah.
Which is the greatest compliment I get from people, is like, I understood exactly where you were coming from. That's what I want.
Exactly. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. I hope you guys have a pen and paper or taking some massive notes, because there is some great knowledge that's coming out right now. So, Stan, we've talked about finding your sexy. We've talked about connecting with the audience, and really that comes down to your genuineness, right? Don't go out there and try to be something you're not. Don't go out there and, I've been to speaking events where I've watched people try to be a Les Brown, or try to be the next Tony Robbins, or try to be, and I told myself, this was a mistake I made with this. I wanted to speak like Adam, or I wanted to speak like Stan, or I wanted to speak, and if it wasn't until I figured out it's your story.
Right.
You tell your story the way you know to tell your story, and you tell it in a genuine way that comes from you. You can't lose.
Dude, man, you're so right. And for anyone listening right now, obviously, they say, impersonation is the greatest form of flattery, or what have you, however the phrase goes. Just use that as a gauge, to study. Obviously, people study who they feel like good at what they do and how they can improve. You study those things, but create your own voice. Use your voice to deliver your message through someone else's influence. That's fine. There's folks like, what do you call it? There's Michael and Kobe. We're talking about basketball, okay? There's Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Outside of that, like he designed his game directly after Michael Jordan. Now, if you're going to do that with someone, what better person? But that's basketball. That's an actual activity. That's slightly different than sharing your life with the world. That's why it's cool to have some kind of influence, from someone, but you must use your voice if you want to have maximum impact. Use your voice to have the greatest impact, and you will thank yourself, and people will thank you. Otherwise, you'll never feel like it was you that was doing it. If you're using someone else's voice, someone else's cadence, even someone else's style, it'll never be you that's driving the message home. It'll be them. So make sure you use your own voice, because your voice is good enough. Your voice is too sexy. I promise. So use it.
Yeah, great points, man. Great points. So, again, I want to put the phone number out there. I know it's been a few minutes, and I tried to get the phone number out as many times as I can to give people the opportunity to call in. If you'd like to talk to Stan Pearson, if you have a question for Stan, you can call in live at 646-7979. That's 646-716-7979. So, Stan, you're a busy guy, man. You're constantly on live stream. You're on YouTube, social media. You're constantly performing, both doing your comedy shows and your speaking engagements and all of these other things, right?
Yes, sir.
How do you manage it all, man? Because I know there's a lot of people that are like, for me, man, this is one of the biggest challenges for me. Working a full-time job still as the law enforcement officer, and folks tell me becoming a professional speaker at the same time. So working 80 hours a week and trying to balance all family. I know there's other people out there like this. How can people improve their daily routine, man?
Golly.
We've got the phones blowing up.
Number one, I'll say this: wake up earlier. Especially the last few days, for sure. I've been very purposeful in waking up earlier. That means 5, 6 o'clock maybe. When I do that, I literally feel better. I feel more accomplished. I feel like I'm working now. There's a guy named Hal Elrod, good friend, great guy, has a book called The Miracle Morning. He speaks about that quite a bit as well. And then doing what they call savers. But when you wake up let's say when I wake up at 5 a.m, nobody else is up yet. So I'm able to do a few hours worth of work before anyone else's feet are on the pavement. And sometimes I even feel like I am ahead of the game. So, and then by the time the day starts, I already feel like I'm in stride. I'm in my rhythm. I think that's ultra important to be able to do that, because I'll be very honest with you all. Right now, I finally have, a couple virtual assistants working for me now. But before that, up until recent history, I signed my own contracts for the most part. Cynthia Padilla, she helps me quite a bit with my contracts when I can't get to something. But and not just that, I did my contracts. I booked my own hotels, my own flights, my own rental car. All that stuff is tough doing it by yourself. And I'll be honest, at some point, it begins to be a detriment to your business. In order to grow, you have to add people. You have to add elements in order to help yourself grow. So if you can, on a very small scale, I coach some people that are like, I need a business manager now. I'm like, you don't do 2 booking dates every 6 months. You can manage your own schedule right now. Unless you just want to, right? Unless you just want to give money away, then you can give it to me. But, so I think that's a point to note. But there's nothing like, and Sean, you know this as well now, there's nothing like knowing your business inside and out. So then when you do turn it over to someone helping or assisting, then you know what to look for. Then you know if something's out of place because you've done it all. It's like getting your own check, cashing your own check, depositing your own check. I mean, then once you get a hold of that, once you understand that system, then you're comfortable letting someone else do it, but not a moment sooner. So for those of you all that are like, right.
And you're not losing money that way either, right? Because you know how much it costs to do that because you've already spent the money to do that.
Right.
Doing it yourself. So
you know what the going rate is for everything. Matter of fact, I picked up, again, for those of you all watching on live stream, I have some post-up stands behind me, but I've shopped these things out. I mean, anywhere from business cards to printing to post-up stands. So as an industry person, I've done so many things myself that when I went to pick these up, I was able to talk to the person that made them about what the competition is doing and what they're charging and what their service is like. I knew that better than they did. And I was able to help them that. I mean, it was cool to be able to, right. It was cool to be able to do that. And I feel like the more you're willing, because someone right now is listening and they're like, I don't know, it sounds like a lot. You tell me, is it worth it? Of course, if it's going to be worth doing, if this is, let's say, your dream or something you aspire to do or even supplement your income, it's supposed to be a lot. It's supposed to be work. And if you're afraid of work, then you're afraid of being happy. If you're afraid of work, you're afraid of being happy. But you deserve to be, so go get it.
Absolutely. Hey, man, we got some more phone calls, man. You ready to take some more phone calls?
Oh, heck yeah. Bring it on.
All right, man. So we got area code 510. 510. Hey, how are you doing? You were on the air with Stan Pearson and Sean Wyman. Welcome to the movement.
Hey, Sean, it's Tiffany calling from Atlanta. How are you?
Tiffany.
We got another one from Atlanta. Hey, Tiffany.
So, Sean, thanks so much for having Stan on. Stan, thank you for the nuggets you are dropping. So,
thank you,
I
Tiffany.
want to be you when I grow up.
Oh.
Thank you. Before Sean's shows, I like to just do some research on the folks that he'll be talking to, and from your passion around diversity training and speaking, those are the things that I'm passionate about as well.
Awesome.
So what would be the top 3 things that you would recommend? I am full-time working from home, but my work is competing with developing my speaking game. So what would be the top 3 things that you would recommend to move me in that direction?
Sweet. Do you recognize any you know what? In your job, there may be some opportunity to create a diversity initiative or a diversity workshop, or as I like to say, empowerment session, in which you could just, maybe there'd be 5 folks, 10 folks to be willing to attend. But see, that would just be for practice. And they may even see you as, a subject matter expert and someone they really want to attach something official to that. Once upon a time, I worked for Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and I was a part of their diversity group, their diversity training committee, and their group training committee. But part of that was my experience in diversity and discussing it. And then they just moved me into this group training committee that really helped and almost created a position at some point. That would be number one. Number two, I don't know if they invest in professional development or not. If they do, there's a conference called NCORE. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, but it is a phenomenal diversity conference that, a lot of speakers come from all around. And again, that would be another place to begin practicing, working on your message, which we can discuss if you have a two-part question. But that would be another great place for you to get some great practice in. I had a number three as well. That's one, two. Number three. This is really going to sound, and I don't mean to offend if it comes across as duh, this is elementary. Right now, I would purchase your URL. I would purchase your name online, your domain. I would do that. Your name, Tiffany, last name. I would purchase that .com, .org, whatever direction you want your company to go in. If you're thinking diversitybytiffany.com, something like that, I would go ahead and purchase it. Why? You're like, I don't know if I want it to be that, but it's only going to cost you $11. That's what we're talking for the year to hold it. And then you could decide. I bought 10 domains that I've never used, but when I decide I'm not going to use them, I just point them all to stanpearson.com. If I'm not sure, I'm like, I'm going to get some use out of them. I just point them all to one domain. But I think that would really be helpful. Why? Because once you own a domain, then it's going to be, you know what? I need a website. It doesn't have to be expensive, but I need a website. And now, Tiffany, you're going to be held a lot more accountable for what it is you say you want to do. Once you have your website and your business cards, that means game on. So in reverse order, I would say be comfortable in owning your own domain if you don't already. Get a couple of them, whichever one seems like more in line with the message that you want to deliver. Two, maybe talk with your superiors on some type of diversity session that you might want to put on. They don't have to know that you'd like to parlay this and then leave at some point and be a full-time consultant, diversity consultant or speaker. That's not important right now, because right now you're just putting the pieces together. And obviously, last but certainly not least, there's NCORE, and there's another organization called NASPA that deals with higher ed professionals, but NCORE is another great one. And there are tons of conferences out there as well. I hope that made sense. And I'd be more than happy to. I know we're going to do a Periscope after party. I'd be more than willing to talk more about this or hit you on Facebook and discuss it further if I did not answer your question the way you were expecting.
Awesome. Tiffany, did that get to your question? Stan, I think her call might have dropped off, man. I'm not sure. Hopefully
Okay.
she heard it, and but we got the replay, man. And
Okay,
I know
okay.
Tiffany, so not a problem, man. We'll make sure we get that
Awesome.
information to her. So we're going to take another call.
Absolutely. Is water wet?
All right, here we go. This one's from 813. So what's up, 813? Welcome to the movement. You're live with Sean and Stan. What's going on?
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I have a question. I've been listening in, and I noticed that when you're talking about getting started in speaking, you refer to current employment situations.
Yes.
What about those of us that are existing small business owners that aren't working anywhere but for our own company?
That is incredible.
How would we get started?
Awesome.
Oh, there you go.
So there's a few options. I guess if I can ask you, do you have a particular industry that you would like to speak to? Or are you open to professionals? Are you open to high school, colleges? Where do you see yourself speaking to start?
I'm open for small business professionals specifically. I am open to speak for universities, definitely, because I think college students need to get a perspective of what it's like in the real world once they graduate. Being a college graduate myself, that was like a culture shock.
Right.
But primarily for small business owners. That's my target.
Awesome. Small business owners, I would say first would be the Chamber of Commerce in your city, actually, and surrounding Chamber of Commerces, because those aren't always that big. Those are great to get involved with, because obviously a lot of CEOs or high-ranking business officials sit on the Chamber of Commerce. And I know some folks, I myself have only done this a couple times, but I've spoken at chamber events before, and then small business owners attend those. And you can also, once you're a member, let's say you're a member of the Irvine, California Chamber of Commerce, you're also able to market more heavily to that particular chamber and to those business owners. That would be the easiest way or the quickest way to do that. Obviously, there are more conversations about social media ads and let's say Facebook ads, Instagram ads. That's a different conversation. But if you're talking about immediately, I would say the Chamber of Commerce, because there's the conversation of, fishing with a net and not a hook. You probably know people that it would work for. But if we're talking about fishing with a net, how can you, without working yourself to the bone, find a group of people that this would work great for? And that would be the Chamber of Commerce. That's what I would do. And that's what I'd highly recommend. And every city, town has one. But if you nail a couple of those down, I feel like that'd be a great start. And also, briefly, I don't know if you're discussing maybe live events, something for free, of nominal cost. Those are a couple other conversations. And two, quite really briefly, on colleges and university students, I'm going to give you a couple of names of organizations that would be great for you to research. Number one, there's an organization called SIFE. SIFE, it stands for Students in Free Enterprise. Those are typically SIFE, Students in Free Enterprise. There's also an organization called AKPsi, Alpha Kappa Psi. They are a business. They are a business fraternity. Now they're one of the best, and there are chapters of them everywhere. I happen to be a founding father of the school that I'm an alumni of. And then there are two others that I'd highly recommend. The only reason I'm only going to give a couple right now is because you could really be overwhelmed with just the number of events you could go to or research. Not only that, we could all go broke on the number of conferences that there are to attend, but I'm going to give you the ones that were most fruitful for me as it pertains to the speaking world. Number one, where I started my speaking career, is APCA. APCA is what it's called. Association for the Promotion of Campus Activities. That's the first one, apca.com. If you ever called there, ask any questions, talk to Eric. He's the executive director. He created it all. I appreciate him a lot. And number two, there's an organization called NACA. That's NACA, National Association for Campus Activities. NACA.org. Those two organizations, awesome. And last one, NODAC. NODA, N-O-D-A, nodaweb.org, N-O-D-A-W-E-B.org. Nodaweb.org, those are for new student orientation directors. And if you're talking about what students might be interested in, what better place than where they're going to be funneled through?
Right. Okay. Thank you for that.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Can I ask one more question?
Go ahead, and I'll give you a quick answer.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Sean. I'm sorry. What you got?
One more question, and this is probably like the crux of the crux. As far as getting more speaking skills, I know you have a conference coming up.
Yes.
I know you have a conference coming up.
Yes.
And I know you have a book.
Yes.
Now, within your book, will that help us get our speaking skills up to snuff? Get us together,
You know what? The book.
So we can.
In asking that question, and I hadn't released it yet because a lot of the book is directed at the business aspect of it. But there's some parts that I just added that are talking about the actual piece, the act of speaking that I feel like is going to be ultra beneficial. So absolutely, it will help you, even if you're like, all right, how can I work on my speaking? Exactly, specifically my speaking. The answer is yes.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much for the call.
Thank you for calling in.
All right. Guys, have a good one. I'm going to continue listening.
Thank you so very much.
Thanks for listening. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, man. So we're going to give this number one more time. Now, wow, that's crazy. Phone lines just started blowing up.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
716-799-7979. And again, you get the opportunity to talk to Stan Pearson
Thank you.
Like I said, this is one of the first people that I spoke to, and you just know when God's leading you the right way, man. When you connect with people like you, who give, I mean, you gave me so much value in that 1 hour with you, and laid out so many ideas, and more importantly, it just helped me to realize that it was possible.
Thank you.
I think for a lot of people getting started in this industry, part of the challenge is just recognizing that it is possible to speak across the country or around the world. It is possible to make a living and live the life that you want to live doing this. And you don't have to be the greatest speaker in the world.
Right.
You have to be the greatest speaker to your audience.
Dude, you said that's so incredible. Don't have to be the greatest speaker in the world. Have to be the greatest speaker for your audience. You're absolutely right. Really quick story, and then I promise we'll move. When I first started speaking, I was like, man, one day I want to be able to speak where I can take a little vacation at the same time. That would be so cool. That was kind of that's what I always wanted to do. And you'll see, in the intro you mentioned, the British Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands. I was extremely tactful and cognizant of what I was trying to do. And that allowed me to speak in those two different places where I could actually vacation and speak at the same time. So folks, if you're listening, I promise you, you can do this. You can do this. It won't necessarily be easy. And really briefly, I'll tell you this right now. What I always wanted to speak, what thrust me into full time was me getting laid off from a job that I shouldn't have been laid off from. That was the beginning. That was okay, you said you wanted this, now go and get it. That was the beginning. So if you feel like you have time, you got time to finish your book, to knock this out, to send an email. You can do that. If an email, I'm telling you, now, who wants to send emails all day? No one. But if one email can turn into $4,000 or $2,000 or $1,000, why not send it? You know what I mean? If that's one step closer to your dream, then don't stop. Get it.
Nice. So we're leading right into the next question, which we're talking about passion now, right? We're both really passionate about what we do. And I mean, I've seen you speak, man. I've watched you through a lot of I haven't got to see you live yet. I'm really excited to go to the Speak Live event in California, because this will be the first time. And it's crazy. Who would have thought I would get to speak on stage with the amazing Stan Pearson, man?
Man,
But
thank you.
I'm honored to get that opportunity, man. And to watch and learn from you as well is just going to be really powerful. And I hope that many people will take advantage of the opportunity to come out there and see me live, because it's just going to be incredible. But getting to the question here, passion, right?
Yeah.
How do people pursue their passion daily, man? Like when you're in the grind and you're working and you want to do it, right? So many people want to have more in their life. They want to be successful. They want to make more money. They want more time with their family. But how do you transition from that want to taking the action to really pursue your passion on a daily basis?
Right. I really try to be extremely, very specific about what I'm pursuing. So, I work on the way I go to sleep. I know I've done a video on this. The way I go to sleep, I try not to watch the news at least an hour before I go to sleep. I do not deviate from that. I do my best. That means negativity on social media as well. I don't do that an hour before I go to bed. I cut myself off from it. Number two, when you get home from work, or if you have a job, or if let's say you got on your work clothes, even if you're an entrepreneur, when you're done with work, you shower, you get out of those clothes, you get the day off you. Start fresh, start anew. And as I fall asleep, I often begin to say all the things that I'm thankful for. Regardless of what you believe in, who you believe in, everyone has something to be thankful for. And those of y'all who listening who don't feel like you don't have a lot to be thankful for, it's even better for you, because you're forced to think about even the smallest things. Aside from that, my alarm is set like the two alarms I have set one note when I look at it. The first alarm says, wake up and kick today in the face. That's what the first alarm says. And then when the snooze comes on, it says, don't make me say it again. So it's really small things that make huge differences, because I just want to make sure along the way I'm being very purposeful in the way that I'm trying to attack this dream. It's things like that. And I have literally music playlists. Like I have a playlist called Upbeat Playlist. That's what it's called, because sometimes I need to get up for something. I need to get up and go. And last but certainly not least, this may sound silly, but I don't have a lot of yes people on my team. Some folks just want to be around people that tell them yes and everything is great all the time. And while I've not always been the best at accepting criticism or ways that I can improve, I know the only way that I'm going to improve is by being around people enough, being around the people that are going to tell me when I'm good and when I'm not so good. And that has been a life-changing experience.
Wow, man, that's beautiful. So let me ask you this, because there's a lot of speaking coaches out there.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you know this, man. We see them every single day.
Yeah.
And you can tell the genuine ones from the not so genuine ones, right? You can tell the ones that are looking at it for financial gain and the ones that are just they really want to help people.
Yeah.
Help our audience, help my audience to understand, man, what is it that you do that's different from everybody else? How do you add value to your clients?
Man, I'm contagious. I am contagious. Not just my energy, my drive, my passion. When I speak, when I'm just speaking to an audience, people will say, "Wow, Stan, you change lives. You changed my life." I don't know if that's what my gift is. I think what my gift is I give people the right tools to change themselves. That's what my gift is, and I've fallen in love with that. And that is the difference. I have the right tools to help people change themselves. I have the right methods to help people see things that they haven't yet seen in their message and their delivery and how they connect with people. And I feel like there's that personal piece. And I struggle with this because I know that it's business, right? I know that business is business. And while I'd love to be a handshake kind of business person, everyone doesn't operate like you and I, Sean. I know that. And other friends that we have, they don't operate that way. But I honestly think that is what the game changer has been. For me as a coach, as a speaking coach, this is something that I learned on both sides. Not only, I'm not just a speaker who knows how to speak. I was the person who was event planning and recruiting speakers and hiring speakers and signing checks to speakers. I did that for a number of years before I said, okay, I know this, I love this, but I want to be on this side now. So unlike 90%, I'm throwing that number out there, but I feel like I'm fairly accurate. Unlike 90% of other speakers, I have seen both sides extremely clear, and I understand the difference, and I understand what helps people to be booked. I understand what helps people connect with audience members, and what will keep you not just getting booked time and time again, but will help you, let's say, sell your books, improve your message, and get you to come back to where you were booked before. That's where the difference is, because honestly, getting in the speaking business, I don't think getting in is tough. That part is fairly simple. Staying in is the game changer. I see hundreds of speakers come in and year out. Coming in, not nearly as difficult as it is staying in. And I am in the great business of keeping speakers in business.
There you go, man. There you go. And I want to add to that, if you don't mind, may I?
Yeah, please.
Okay, because, something else I think is really special about you, man, is that there's a lot of people that aren't hands-on with their clients. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, okay, do this and get back with me. All right, do this and get back with me. And you're in the trenches with your clients, right?
Yeah,
you're
man.
You're actually out there with them, hustling with them.
Sean, I really am. And I want to get to a point where, coaching clients can actually meet me at a place. So they can see me on stage live. They can see what it's like, what the interaction is like. And I always tell myself, because other people don't do it, right? Now, other people don't often do that, or other coaches where, you know what, I'm not gonna give this much information. I'm not gonna give this much value this time. But it's just not in me to keep it all to myself. So once I begin disseminating information, I'm just like, boom, it's just in me. And you know what? Now I finally come to grips with that's who I am. And I don't want to stop being who I am because other people stop being who they're supposed to be. So yeah, I am in the trenches. I do love connecting people. I love holding folks accountable. I love pushing people to find their message and to deliver it in a way that will be received extremely well.
Wow. Don't ever stop being you, man, because you are an amazing human being, and I'm honored to have had the opportunity to just to meet you and now to connect with you and now to work with you, man, to collaborate with you. And I know that you've given this audience some massive value tonight. Anybody that is curious about looking at their speaking, about getting into the speaking industry, getting started in the speaking industry, guys, check out Stan. And this last couple minutes, because we're getting down to the wire, which is hard to believe because we've had such an amazing time.
It really flew by, man.
I know, man. I know.
Sorry.
But I want to offer you the opportunity. Is there anything that how can people work with you, man? Because I know that you have that opportunity, and I feel like people can get so much value from that. So share a little bit about that. How can people work with you?
All right.
What are some things that are coming up, and what can you offer to the audience?
Cool. So here's the thing. We're going to start out really simple. If you can, this would be, well, number one, write this down. Write down, you're good, you're great, you're worth it. That is my life motto. I love it. You can see it right behind me a little bit. Write that down. You're good, you're great, you're worth it. Write that down. Put that somewhere where you see it every single day. Now, moving on. If you're interested in any type in my coaching or in learning more from me or about me, visit simplyspeakuniversity.com. Okay? simplyspeakuniversity.com. When you go to simplyspeakuniversity.com, you put your name and email address. You're going to receive three key pieces of information. You're going to receive, I want to say like 4 videos, 4 very simple, easy to digest videos on how to start your business, okay? As well as a PDF. And if I recognize you're engaging those emails, you're going to receive some information about Simply Speak Live, okay? So number one, go to simplyspeakuniversity.com. Almost immediately when you put your name and email address, you're going to receive some information from me. And in a couple days, you're going to receive something from Simply Speak Live, in which I'm going to be elated if you're able to attend live. I know obviously everyone's not in Irvine, California, and not able to make it, but it's quite possible you're going to be able to make it via Periscope because my live stream specialist and business strategist, Sean Wyman, not only will he be speaking there, he's going to be live streaming the event for those of you on live stream platforms such as Periscope. You'll be able to be there that way. Okay, so that's what I'm going to ask you to do. Go to Simply Speak Live University, simplyspeakliveuniversity.com. Okay, simplyspeakliveuniversity.com. Name, email address. Then you're going to receive some information about my event. Aside from that, Adam has done an incredible job with marketing myself and his previous shows. Sean is a freaking rock star. Sean is a freak. I can't say that enough. Sean inspires me. Know this. I've had a chance to meet him already a few times. He's a dope person. He's just a fun person. He is also contagious. They say who motivates the motivator? You know what I'm saying? Who motivates the motivator? People like Sean. That's who does that. So I absolutely appreciate him. So if you have Sean's information, then you have mine. All of my social media stuff is the same. At The Real Stan P, THEREAL Stan P. That's assuming that one day I'm so successful and people love me so much, someone will want to be the fake one. All right. So everything is The Real Stan P. And my website is stanpearson.com.
Wow, man. It has been such an honor having you. I knew this was going to be a good show. And,
this is awesome.
There were so many more questions I could have asked you, man.
Man, listen,
you have to come back, bro.
I was just going to ask. I didn't want to be the awkward neighbor or date to be like, hey, so can I come back sometime?
Absolutely, man. I would love to have you back here. And I'm pretty sure this audience would love to have you back here. I can't wait to start seeing some of the feedback coming in. And so we're getting ready to close this out. And we're talking about doing a Periscope after party tonight, right?
Yes, I am in there.
So let's do this, man. We'll go. Let's do it from yours. All right. So
For sure.
I'd like to invite you to become a member of the Welcome to the Movement community, so that the people that are a part of that community specifically can connect with you and ask you questions or reach out to you. Would that be okay?
Done. Absolutely. I would love to. Thank you.
Perfect, man. Perfect. Thank you so much for that. All right, guys. Stan, I can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Really quick, everyone, remember I have this book. I talked about finding your sexy. Go to mi2sexy.com to learn a little bit more about it. mi2sexy.com. I meant to say that. But if you know someone that's trying to improve their self-esteem and their confidence, go there now. Hurry up before I get mad. Thank you, man.
All right, guys.
Hey, Sean, thank you, man. Thank you for being you.
Thank you, man. And I'll see you in California, my friend.
You will, baby. The Doubletree in Irvine.
California, here I come.
All the Doubletree cookies we can eat.
Hey, that's right. Hey, just make sure there's no intros to Gangster Paradise. I don't want a Gangster Paradise intro again. All right, man. Hey, again, thanks so much for joining us, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I hope you got some massive value from this. The next show will be on November 2nd. We will have sales training with my good friend Matt Fortain. You're not going to want to miss it. So
Awesome.
until then, welcome to the movement. Look forward to seeing you on Periscope, and we are going to shut it down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.
Take it easy, y'all. Peace. Ladies and gentlemen, it was an incredible show. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I really hope that you all got a lot of value out of that. And make sure you're able to watch the replay as well on successmovementradio.com. Again, successmovementradio.com. You can go there and watch the replay as many times as you want. Invite anyone you know who's trying to improve their confidence, trying to improve their business. Invite them to watch this. Yeah, watch this. Watch that. Watch this. Also, feel free to go to simplyspeakuniversity.com, simplyspeakuniversity.com to receive some information from me. And if you're interested in my live event or events in the future, go to simplyspeaklive.com. That's all I got. You can find me on, you can find me on stanpearson.com, stanpearson.com, or at The Real Stan P, at The Real Stan P, all right? On all social media platforms. Be good to yourselves. Remember that you're good, you're great, you're worth it. All the while making sure you look good, feel good, and be good. You deserve the life that you want. You just got to go get it. Folks, this is Stan Pearson II. You heard it here first. Be good to yourself. Peace.